Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Welcome to What's on Tap podcast, day 18 of the super popular, ever special, omnipresent advent calendar.
Are we really that popular?
It's super popular.
I like to think that we're underground.
Underground?
Only real connoisseurs.
Well, we're popular with the connoisseurs that know us.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's where our popularity begins and ends.
But yeah, day 18. How you doing?
Doing good, man. It's been a really good calendar so far this year, and I think we're gonna end up in a real strong sprint to the end.
Yeah, I think ratings wise, this has been the best calendar we've ever done.
We haven't really had any dogs. I mean, there's always there's been a couple of years where you've dug out some real dusty beers for the calendar, and it's like, well, that's kind of tough. And then there's always been some random crapshoot stuff that we had to kind of guess on. But yeah, I think
this year all the crapshoots have turned out good except for one Crooked State Pilsner.
It was a Pilsner. It still gave it like a 375. It wasn't like we trashed it, which is good for
complete
Pilsners.
garbage.
Yeah, complete garbage. So what do we got today? Let's rip into that bad boy.
I don't know, because you wrapped this beer.
I know.
don't know what it is.
And it's a can, and since all cans are the same size.
It is upside down.
Absolutely no idea
Sign.
what anything is. Oh.
This is Flying Buffalo Barrel Aged 9 months Barrel Aged Imperial Stout 2020. Griffin Claw Flying Buffalo Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. Nice.
Yeah. It's a vintage 2020, but it did come out this year.
Speaking of dusty things.
Yeah, speaking of dusty things. I don't get it. Yeah, it did come out this year as far as I know, but it says vintage 2020 on it. They're out of Michigan, and which is confusing because they're from Birmingham, Michigan.
Oh.
And I didn't know that was a place. Let's see here if there's anything special. It's a Russian Imperial Stout. Is transferred to freshly emptied bourbon barrels immediately upon fermentation, where it rests for about 9 months in our climate-controlled barrel bunker. This beer remains under strict supervision of our brewmaster, Dan Rogers, as it endures controlled temperature fluctuations in a painstaking process unique to Griffin Claw Brewing Company. Aging is complete and packaging begins at the peak of our barrel aging process, when Flying Buffalo is collectively determined to be ready for release in limited supply. Or no, maybe it is a 2020 beer. I bought it online this year, so
who knows?
So we'll see. Let's just jump into this.
The weird thing is, when I'm looking here at the pictures, there are so many pictures of cans that don't match this at all. And then I look at our friends, and all of them have had this particular can design.
Huh. I wonder if it was an export thing.
Maybe.
Or
it's a vintage thing. Our listeners can't see this, but what we're looking at here is another vintage.
Yeah, that's definitely a different label.
Interesting.
Or maybe they just had a bunch left over and they just repackaged it.
Maybe. Yeah. Who cares about
They
the
won't know the
vintages?
difference.
Exactly.
Stupid Europeans won't know the difference.
So it's an interesting foam. It's the bubbles disappear quite quickly, but it's kind of nice.
Got a
nice flavor.
Nice booziness to it.
Flavor, not nice
aroma.
Visuals.
Yeah.
And a pretty good aroma.
Yeah, it definitely has a barrel-aged smell to it. Kind of along the lines of the Backwoods Bastard that we had earlier this month. Yeah, it smells caramel and boozy, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Let's try it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I thought it was going to be a lot thinner than what it is.
But it's 12% ABV.
Yeah, but when we poured it into the glass, it didn't come out.
Yeah, fair enough.
Very oily looking. It came out pretty light, and then when you agitate it, there's not a lot of residual oiliness on the side of the glass. Just some slight bubbles and stuff.
No, but it has a pretty full body. I like it. I like the bourbon flavor. It reminds me a lot of when Founders does bourbon barrels.
Maybe it's a Michigan thing.
Maybe
the head brewer Dan Rogers is former head brewer at Founders. Wouldn't surprise me.
It's not impossible.
Some crossover there.
Like here, they don't mention what bourbon barrels. I guess you would source them locally. You would source them within the state.
Maybe there's a brokerage team within in the area, but I don't know that of any bourbon producers in Michigan. It's not really a bourbon state.
Maybe it's just a bourbon barrel distributor.
Yeah, that's probably what's happening there. But yeah, it's got a really nice bourbony. It's not boozy, but it's nice and it is kind of bourbony.
The aftertaste has a combination almost of milk chocolate and coffee.
Mm-hmm. I think so as well. It doesn't have a real alcohol heat to it. It has, like I said, it's got a
burn. I wouldn't say burning, but a warming.
Yeah. This is definitely a sipper. I think the more this is gonna sit and open up, and I feel the way it aerates in my mouth, you get this really sweet vanilla, like I said, chocolatey, boozy kind of treat.
Yes. There's something about the aftertaste that maybe it's not boozy, but it kind of pricks the tongue a little bit.
Yeah, like for me, I definitely have a bourbon aftertaste to it, which is really, really nice. I wish the more harder malt, roasted malt flavor would come through a little bit more. I'd like to have maybe a little bit of a licoricey note in there somewhere. But overall, I think this is 12% ABV. This is a solid barrel-aged imperial stout.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah. So what would you give this? Slurp.
4.25.
Yep, I think as well. For a blind buy, I just thought it sounded pretty fun. This is definitely a really good purchase.
I think it'll evolve now when we open it. I think it'll be more interesting in half an hour.
Yeah, I think so too.
But speaking of Griffin Claw, like earlier this year, I think they came out with some kind of pumpkin beer at Systembolaget.
Oh, was that them as well?
I think so, there was Screaming Pumpkin or something.
Yeah, there was a pumpkin beer. There was only like 2 pumpkin beers that came out in Sweden this year, and I think they had one of them.
I think you and I talked about it, and you said, "Well, I will never buy that. I don't buy pumpkin beer."
You don't buy pumpkin beers.
It was such a rough drink. That was really bad.
Do not get like pumpkin spice beers.
No,
I think they are one of the worst creations of all time. So as much as I don't like guava and I don't like hazelnut, pumpkin spice just absolute zero for me. Like even when people have been like, "Oh, this is amazing," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I guess for a pumpkin spice beer, it's not bad, but it still tastes like garbage."
And the pumpkin beers I've enjoyed the most in the past have been heavily relying on the vanilla and like cookie crumble flavors.
Yeah.
Not the pumpkin spice flavors. But I'm pretty certain that's Griffin Claw as well.
Okay.
Otherwise, I haven't had many beers from.
This might be the first one for me. I haven't really looked into it, but I can't imagine I've had more than this one. Maybe through a beer tasting somewhere on the street, somebody's like, "Here, try this," and I'm like, "All right, sure."
What?
When we were in line somewhere.
You don't remember all of your line beers exactly?
No, I don't. I barely remember on the day.
It's so strange.
I know. All right, well, 425 all around. Let's just wrap this up, and we'll see you on day 19.
See you tomorrow.